Muy buena familia, ya estamos aquí con el último teaser. Bueno, qué deciros, hemos descubierto, ya sabemos que tenemos una racha. Ahora, con el vídeo de ayer descubrimos que tenemos 3 rachas más. Yo creo que va a ser un cambio bastante impresionante, aunque el vídeo de hoy, la verdad que te deja sin palabras. Lo que todos estamos pensando, el misil, oh, el búnker del misil, pues exactamente, es lo que ha ocurrido hoy. Hoy hemos abierto uno de los búnkeres, pero bueno, la verdad es que el búnker ese es el de Park, el que está justamente Park, en la carretera, en el filo del mar, de los límites. Y bueno, ¿qué deciros? Es que me dejo sin palabras. Han confirmado que hay un misil. ¿Lo lanzarán? ¿No lo lanzarán? ¿Qué hay? La incógnita. Yo personalmente opino de que el misil llegarán a lanzarlo, lógicamente destruirá o una parte del mapa o todo el mapa. Eso ahí ya depende del criterio de cada persona, la opinión de cada persona. Todos sabemos de que va a salir el nuevo Call of Duty. Y bueno, después cuando hagan la presentación y a ver si posiblemente cambien el mapa, tenemos sorpresas nuevas. De momento han confirmado eso, han confirmado de que tenemos 4 rachas nuevas, pero bueno, habrá que esperar un poquito más, supongo. Veréis que, bueno, ya hay muchos detalles que todavía están por confirmar. Ya veréis en el nuevo búnker. Ya os hago un poquito de vista, un poquito más profunda. Hay varias notas aún por definir, pero bueno, espero que el vídeo os guste. Ya sabéis, como siempre, os dejo primero el vídeo VHS y después os dejaré la ubicación donde está, el vídeo como entro y os enseño todo con detalles. Así que ya sabéis, dadle un buen like, suscribiros, dadle a la campanita si no lo estáis. Y nos vemos a la próxima. Muchas gracias por adelantado. Let's go.
Coming up on our next half hour, Pete Rose will be talking about his record-breaking hitting streak, and Ronnie Milsap, country music's entertainer of the year, whose hits come in gold and platinum. But right now, a station break.
Governor, are you prepared to take the constitutional oath?
I am.
If you place your left hand on the Bible and raise your right hand and repeat after me, I, Ronald Reagan, do solemnly swear.
I, Ronald Reagan, do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States.
that I will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States.
And will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend.
Preserve, protect, and defend.
The Constitution of the United States.
The Constitution of the United States.
So help you God.
So help me God.
May I congratulate you, sir.
Before departing the Capitol, the President pauses to review troops from all services under the command of Major General Robert Arter, Chairman of the Armed Forces Inaugural Committee.
There is a sense of awe at the scientific achievement that has been accomplished in England with the healthy, apparently, birth of the first test tube baby, a baby girl delivered by cesarean section last night.
Was the first American baby successfully conceived outside her mother's body by the in vitro technique, in which the mother's egg is fertilized in a laboratory dish with sperm from the father.
luncheon hosted by the inaugural committee in Statuary Hall of the Capitol, President Reagan brings tremendous news to the guests.
With thanks to Almighty God, I have been given a tagline, the get-off line that everyone wants for the end of a toast or a speech or anything else. Some 30 minutes ago, the planes bearing left Iranian airspace and are now free of Iran.
Though there were no presidents or generals or the former hostages agreed that today's celebrations of their return were the sweetest.
And finally this evening, Ali returns. Muhammad Ali, once known as Cassius Clay, a veteran of 60 contests in the ring, getting older now, pushing 40 and taking a big chance. Tomorrow night in the Bahamas, Ali takes on a heavyweight champion who is 11 years his junior.
Muhammad Ali and Trevor Berbick, the British Commonwealth heavyweight champion, weighed in today in Nassau for their 10-round non-title bout tomorrow night. Ali weighs 236 pounds, the heaviest he's ever been for a fight.
The United States and the Soviet Union began their latest round of arms talks this morning in Geneva.
The United States has said it will not deploy the new version of this Pershing missile and new cruise missiles if the Soviets dismantle their medium-range arsenal. The Soviets say the United States has deliberately not counted submarine-fired missiles, air-based warheads, and the nuclear forces of Britain and France.
Judy, I'm sorry to interrupt. I beg your pardon. In front of me now are two bulletins from AP and United Press International that both say President Reagan was shot in the chest and wounded by a at the Washington Hotel on Monday. He was reported in stable condition at George Washington University Hospital. I have just read from the United Press International bulletin. The second bulletin is from Associated Press. They both move simultaneously. AP says, quote, President Reagan was wounded in an assassination attempt today, top White House aides said. He was reported to be conscious. His condition was stable, according to Lynn Nofziger, who is the president's political advisor. Here's the car pulling up under the emergency marquee at GW. Agents running out, ordering the press back. There's Mrs. Reagan in the red coat.
Good evening. Reagan is in good condition tonight in a Washington hospital after several hours of emergency surgery. His press secretary, James Brady, is in extremely serious condition with brain damage. A Secret Service agent who was also shot is doing well, while a District of Columbia policeman is in serious condition with bullet wounds in the shoulder and the neck.
Constitutionally, gentlemen, you have the President, the Vice President, and the Secretary of State in that order. And should the President decide he wants to transfer the helm to the Vice President, he will do so.
What is the...
As of now, I am in control here in the White House, pending return of the Vice President, and in close touch with him. If something came up, I would check with him.
Before he got the news about Brady, the President continued to make jokes with the medical staff. At one point, he said, if I got this much attention in Hollywood, I never would have left.
I think every ball club in the major leagues, really has been hurt financially by this. No one has won by this strike. The only people that are going to win now are the fans because it's over with.
It's about time to stop playing baseball.
Let's begin with the news of the morning. The strike deadline has It looks like the first mid-season baseball strike in history is on.
Don't like what they're making here, throw them in a steel mill for 6 months and let them earn their money.
President Reagan has reaffirmed close relations with Israel in spite of the suspension of delivery of 4 F-16s after the air raid Sunday on an Iraqi nuclear facility.
Take me on. And I suppose in love.
Of course.
Whatever in love means.
Yes.
Tonight, to celebrate the end of the prince's bachelorhood, there was an enormous and spectacular fireworks display in Hyde Park. And all over England, Scotland, and Wales, bonfires of celebration were lit.
But then the new art form gets a boost when a 24-hour station called MTV debuts.
What we've introduced with MTV is a non-narrative form, as opposed to conventional television where you rely on mood and emotion. We make you feel a certain way as opposed to you walking away with any particular knowledge.
Helms said his agency could not rehire any large number of strikers because they wouldn't get along with the group now working in the towers.
Within the FAA, we could not accept it under any condition.
As far as coming back as controllers, things, I just don't feel like we need them back down here.
Early this morning, the Canadian Air Traffic Controllers Union claimed that U.S. airspace was unsafe and refused to handle planes on their way to and from the U.S. What followed was temporary havoc, confusion.
I must tell those who failed to report for duty this morning, they are in violation of the law, and if they do not report for work within 48 hours, they have forfeited their jobs and will be terminated.
Negotiations continue to end the Major League Baseball strike, but there's no sign a settlement is near. While they wait, ball players occupy themselves in many ways.
In an historic first, Sandra Day O'Connor is Reagan's surprise choice for nomination to the United States Supreme Court. The Arizona judge shares the president's conservative on many legal issues. She is unanimously confirmed by the Senate in September and takes her place on the bench.
NATO's policy of peace is based on restraint and balance. No NATO weapons, conventional or nuclear,
will ever be used in Europe except in response to attack. NATO's defense plans have been responsible and restrained. But the momentum of the continuing Soviet military buildup threatens both the conventional and the nuclear balance. Our response to this relentless buildup of Soviet military power has been restrained but firm. We have made decisions to strengthen all three legs of the strategic triad: land and air-based. In other words, a deterrent, preventing the use of these Soviet weapons by the counter threat of a like response against their own territory. At present, however, there is no equivalent deterrent to these Soviet intermediate missiles. War depends on the perceived ability of our forces to. The more effective our forces are, the less likely it is that we have to use them. The United States is prepared to cancel its deployment of Pershing II and ground-launched missiles if the Soviets will dismantle their SS-20, SS-4, and SS-5 missiles. This would be an historic step. With Soviet agreement, we could together substantially reduce the dread threat of nuclear war which hangs over the people of Europe. This, like the first footstep on the moon, would be a giant step for mankind.
Citizen of that country. For instance, in this case...
That's what happened to you, right?
That's right.
And you got all this from Moscow when you were trained as a spy at a spy school in Moscow?
That's right. That's right. That was a major part of my schooling.
They live as citizens of these countries, and they would start operating really in case of war between the Soviet Union and the United States, for example, or in the time of of a very serious crisis when, for example, the diplomatic relations would be broken.
Eventually, he was caught by the FBI and became a double agent.
When you were caught by the FBI, did you try to signal your Soviet handlers at the UN or in Moscow that you had been caught?
Not immediately, because I couldn't. I would be, among other illegals, the only means by which the Soviet Union could get any military intelligence from the United States, because all their diplomatic means, all their open means would be cut off.
The highest art of warfare is not to fight at all, but to subvert anything of value in your enemy's country, be it moral traditions, religion, respect to your authority and leaders, cultural traditions, anything. Put white against black, old against young, I don't know, wealthy against poor, and so on. Doesn't matter. As long as it disturbs society, as long as it cuts the moral fiber of a nation, it's good.
As one boxing great departs, another legend leaves the ring. 39-year-old Muhammad Ali loses a bout to young Canadian Trevor Berbick. The champ calls it quits.
Just have to face it.
More information is turning up tonight about John W. Hinckley, Jr., the man accused of firing the shots. He was arraigned in court in Washington, D.C. tonight. There is no evidence that there was anyone else in conspiracy with Hinckley, that it all appears as though he was acting alone.
Good evening. At Christmas time, every home takes on a special beauty, a special warmth. And that's certainly true of the White House, where so many famous Americans have spent their Christmases over the years. This fine old home, the People's House, has seen so much, been so much a part of all our lives and history. It's been humbling and inspiring for Nancy and me to be spending homes have been assaulted. The Polish government has trampled underfoot solemn commitments to the UN Charter and the Helsinki Accords. It has even broken the Gdansk Agreement of August 1980, by which the Polish government recognized the basic right of its people to form free trade unions and to strike. The tragic events now occurring in Poland almost 2 years to the day after the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan have been precipitated by public consideration from the Soviet Union. It is no coincidence that Soviet Marshal Kulikov, chief of the Warsaw Pact forces, and other senior Red Army officers were in Poland while these outrages were being initiated. And it is no coincidence that the martial law proclamations imposed in December by the Polish government were being printed in the Soviet Union. The action cannot stop there. I want emphatically to state tonight that if the outrages in Poland do not cease, we cannot and will not conduct business as usual with the perpetrators and those who aid and abet them. Make no mistake, their crime will cost them dearly in their future dealings with America and free peoples everywhere. I do not make this statement lightly or without serious reflection. We have been measured and deliberate in our reaction to the tragic events in Poland. We have not acted in haste, and the steps I will outline tonight and others we may take in the days ahead are firm, just.
This is my last broadcast as the anchorman of the CBS Evening News. Old anchormen, you see, don't fade away. They just keep coming back for more. And that's the way it is. Friday, March 6th, 1981. I'll be away on assignment, and Dan Rather will be sitting in here for the next few years. Good night.